What would you say you do here?
It's the Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast. A podcast dedicated to up-and-coming bands, labels, artists, and more. Plug in and join your host, Brad Nunnery, as he dives deep into what the future of music has to hold and discover something new along the way. What else do you have to do?
Hey, this is Sean from King of Cups, and you're listening to Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast.
I'm watching shadows in the firelight, hollow smiles in the dead of night. Promises fade, slipping like cash in a world built to break. All comes to crash. The righteous stand with the twisted two and see right through the things they do. They built the stage with hollow words, and now I wanna watch it burn. I wanna watch the world burn, let it fall. See the stars crash down and swallow it all. No heroes here, just hands stained red. In the end, we'll get what we earned instead. They spin the lights painted gold and bright, but in the dark they all look alike. Luring their fate, this house of sand, crumbling down just like we planned. I'm tired of the scripted play, the hollow words, games they play. I'll light the match and let it turn. I wanna watch the world burn. I wanna watch the world burn, let it fall. See the stars crash down and swallow it all. No heroes here, just hands stained red. In the end, we'll get what we earned instead.
That's the latest single from our really good friends in King of Cups. It's called Watch the World Burn. Many thanks to you, Sean, for recording that promo for us. Really do appreciate it, man. Now, King of Cups are a really killer alt-rock / pop-punk band based out of Northern California. They've been putting out some really killer singles over the past year. Love what these guys are doing, but don't take it from me. Visit them on any social media platform at King of Cups Band. All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Brad Nunnery. Welcome to Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast, Season 3, Episode 15, presented by my really good friend Jeff Small over at 1603 Designs. My guests tonight are a really killer band based out of Southern California. They are called PINSTOCK. They are a really killer blend of alternative rock meets pop punk meets spoken words / hip hop. You're going to love PINSTOCK. I love PINSTOCK, but their brand new EP, Step 1, The Beginning, is out now via Wiretap Records. So I'm super excited to talk to the guys all about the making of the record, their previous record, Juliet St, history of the band, future of the band, and all that good stuff. So stick around. We got plenty more to come. But right now, here is their latest music video for Wasted Time. I Could Tell You're Lying. It's on Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast.
You're pissed, I can feel it in your kiss. The one that you get to pretend that you're not. I've got just a little bit of cash left, little bit of stash left on me. Do you think she'll know? Either way I'm gonna go. Gotta just get through this, just get through the week. And I'll save that for some other time, cause right now I'm feeling fine, but I can't help feeling like I wasted time coming down. You want to move on from this, but can't stop holding on to this. It's senseless. No, you can't be hard sold. Somehow it just takes a hold. Wasted time with lies you've told. The night seems longer with dreams, reoccurring themes take hold of me. In your grasp, all that you ask, why should you believe? Beats me, it's not making sense, it's not adding up. You're not doing well, and I've had enough. You can only take so much, taken for granted till you wasted time coming down.
Pinstock. Oh man, it's so glad to finally meet you guys and talk to you guys. Thank you so much for joining the podcast, Ricky, Danny, Jeff, and Shane. Congratulations on your brand new EP. I love the title, the way that you worded the title, the step one, the beginning, but you have ST lowercase, and because it's an EP. I thought that was pretty
That's Shane's idea.
genius idea.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, how's everything going since the release? How's the response been for the record so far?
I think pretty good so far. You know, we of the 4 songs, 3 of them we had released as singles. So to help gain traction for it coming out. So so far so good. We released we recorded a music video for the other song that isn't out yet. So that'll hopefully be out soon. But yeah, I think so far so good. I don't know what you guys think or if you've heard much from anybody, but
I've heard just good news. Yeah, everyone's liked it. They liked the last one we released. You know, they really liked the rapping part you did on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
same. Yeah, I got a lot of really good feedback on Life Worthwhile.
Yeah, no, it's really cool because, you know, I think you guys did it. You know, one of the things I love about your band, because you guys are constantly putting out music videos, and I love music videos. I'm a music video guy, and it seems like you guys have a music video for every song, which is really great because I don't have to do a lot of research on Spotify and listen to your songs. I could just watch your music videos and talk to you about the music videos and just kind of go from there, you know, and you're getting people kind of used to the songs before the actual EP is released and all that good stuff. So that's really cool. And then you got that one song you have it, you know, that you didn't have a music video for, but you're doing it one now. But that's really cool. And when do you think that one's gonna come out?
I'm hoping by like end of the month, maybe middle of August at the latest. We don't have an official. We actually just filmed it. What was that? A little over a week ago.
Yeah,
so
I think last weekend.
Yeah, so don't have it back yet, but hopefully soon. I mean, pretty much as soon as we get it, we'll give it to Rob at Wiretap and then discuss with him when we think we should release it. But hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, that's really cool. And let's talk about Wiretap. This is your first record under a record label, right? Because St. Juliet St was an independent release, right? Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Yeah, Rob's good people. How'd you get connected with Rob over at Wiretap?
Well, I think he had heard off of Juliet St the song "What I Do This Time," and I think he heard that. We were on the Mike Herrera podcast, and yeah. Nice. And I think he heard it there, and then he reached out to us just saying how much he liked us and everything, and to let him know when we had new music. And coincidentally, one of the first days that we were back in the studio, around like last September, the day we were in the studio, there was a Wiretap like 10-year anniversary party, and it was really close to the studio we were recording at. So we decided to go and just watch the bands, and then to introduce ourselves to Rob and in person, and talk to him a little bit. And we shared with him, so I guess you could say, the demo of what we had recorded that day, and he liked it, and kind of grew from there, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I've been working with Rob for pretty much the whole time I've been running Signal Chords on all his bands. He's got a huge roster of really killer bands under his label, and I was super excited that you guys landed with them, because I know you guys were on independent, and that's like my dream, is seeing these independent bands get on labels that I work with. And so I was like living vicariously through you. I don't know if I might have been more excited that you guys are on with Wiretap than you guys probably were, but from afar I was like, oh hell yeah, it's a great band, it's a great label, so it just made sense. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you.
So let's bring it back to let's go back a little bit, and we're gonna get into all the music and all the good stuff from the new EP. But Juliet St was released in 2023, and is that did you guys get together around like a year or two before you started recording? How did the band come together ultimately, and all that good stuff?
Well, basically we to get really into the history of it, I came to California. I'm originally from Southern Indiana, actually, and I came to California wanting to do something different with music. I'd always done rapping and more like traditional hip hop, and I wanted to do something that, more band and rock focused, and specifically like pop punk and indie rock focused. And so around like 2018, I started putting out feelers for bandmates, and cycled through a couple people, and then posted ads online, and I met Ricky. and Ricky's our bass player. And whenever I found Ricky, he already knew Danny from they grew up, playing in different bands together and doing music together. And so that's how we met, and we kind of officially became a band in 2019. May 2019, we put out our first project, and later we ended up meeting Jeff a few years later, who's our drummer. But yeah, so we called the record Juliet Street because it came out 2023, but for those first 4 years as a band, I had a house on Juliet Street, which is in West Adams of LA, like close to downtown, and that's where we would practice, that's where we would rehearse and write songs and everything. So collectively we took those songs and chose kind of what was the best of what we'd done over the few years, and just put them together, went to the studio and decided to call it that just because it was sort of the home of where it was all born, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Now, when did you record at the same place for Juliet Street that you did with Step One?
We did not actually. So Juliet Street was recorded with so I'm a teacher, and a teacher friend of mine, her name is Lisa. She was our producer, and her husband does mixing and engineering. His name's Bob. So Lisa and Bob produced that album, and we did everything with them. And for the most part, that's who we've worked with, other than a couple of other singles. But this new EP, we went with Paul Miner, who is in like Orange County area. And he does more like traditional punk rock bands and stuff like that. So I went with him just to kind of mix it up a little bit, and how can I like have a little more fun with it, I guess you could say. This was we tried to kind of take pressure off of ourselves with this one. I think with Juliet Street, with it being our first album, we were really, really focused on making sure it was good. And this time around, we were like, you know what, obviously we want it to be good, but we also want to have fun with it ourselves. And just kind of, I think one of the differences was with Juliet Street, we literally like would do one instrument a day. Like we really slowly took our time. And I kind of treat that studio time as like also like school. We were kind of learning how to write songs and how to record. And Lisa and Bob helped us with that a lot. But with this was sort of like, okay, now we've graduated. Now we're writing songs together. Let's go in and just like nail them out, basically. So that was sort of the difference in the experience, I guess.
Yeah. Now, did you have everything written before you went in the studio for the EP and just hammer out everything together and all that kind of stuff? Or was it just kind of in the studio to where it's just like, no, we have everything and we're going to go from there?
A little bit of both. I mean, we definitely wanted to go in with it good enough that we were happy with it, but every song has additional things that, Paul is really, really good at coming up with guitar ideas, and especially really good at coming up with like vocal harmonies. So things like that were kind of changed in the studio, and he might tweak lyrics here and there. But for the most part, we had a good, strong skeleton of the songs, and then just branched out from there.
Yeah, it's one of the things I love. There's a lot of things I love. I'm a huge fan of yours. Number one, I'm not just interviewing just to interview you. I mean, I'm a huge fan of yours. And the one thing that I really love, and I'll kick myself if I don't say it. And I think one of the things that I gravitate towards is your rap style. It's not rap. It's almost spoken wordish. And it's the way that I used to write poetry. Like I used to write poetry, and like the cadence of your rap was kind of like my poetry, but I could never make it into a song or music or whatever. So I'm kind of like, oh man, that guy gets it, because that's the type of shit that I used to write back in the day that I could never put music to. And it's a really cool fine line that it's not overly hip hop, it's not overly pop punk, and you guys, walk that line that I really love, and the choruses are just so rememberable. And you guys really nailed it on the head with both Juliet Street and the new EP. So you guys definitely, you guys definitely have your ducks in a row, and got a big fan of me for sure.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's talk about so going back to the music videos. You said you have. I mean, we talked about you have music videos for a lot of songs. Are you working with the same person over and over again? It kind of gets where you guys are going, or is that you, Jeff? Is that you, Jeff? You do all the editing and all that stuff. Yeah.
I do all the video work except for this last song. I decided to take a break for one song, but every other video since I've joined the band has been me. Oh, I guess Shane did technically edit a video.
I do a little bit of editing, but yeah. Jeff is professional. So just to put in his plug, any bands, any artists out there looking for professional video work, Jeff is your guy.
Is that your day job? Is that your daytime job, Jeff?
It's not. No, it's just a side freelance.
Side. No, that's awesome to have in a band, having somebody that's that creative, and you're going to need that. You can save a whole bunch of money doing it,
helpful.
that that way, you know what I
sure.
mean? It's like, you don't have to blow your budget out on a music video, and it explains why you have so many, because you could just do it for free, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
what's
Thank you, Jeff.
some of the
You're welcome.
some of the things that what's that?
I was just thanking Jeff.
You're welcome.
What are so the music videos are really good. Now, how long does it usually take to kind of start them and kind of from start to finish kind of a deal?
Not long.
Does it matter? Does it matter? I mean, it's constantly just you do it one day and knock it out, and then Jeff spends the next 2 weeks editing everything? Is that how it works?
It depends. There's videos that are sometimes, we all have our own schedules, so there's a lot of times where we're just so busy, but we know we need to get stuff out there. We need to get content put out. So we might decide, what, for this song, we might just do a fairly simple video, something that we know we could turn around quick, because it's kind of something's better than nothing, but we still want to try to visually make it look as cool as possible. And so some of those videos, like what was the recent one, Left Me Hanging, I think, that we shoot all in an afternoon. And if I have the next day off, I might have it wrapped up and ready to go the next day. So sometimes we can do videos in like 24 hours, but if we want to incorporate more like storylines or we get busy with other stuff, it might take a few days, but it's really quick.
I think the most we've ever spent would have been like, what I do this time was probably took a couple days to film, because there's so many different things happening in it. And also some of the stuff we filmed, we decided to go reshoot it on another day because we weren't happy with it the first time. But yeah, I don't think, rarely is it more than one day of filming. And then editing is usually, can be done in a day or so.
Yeah, one of the cool videos was for Willows. It was from your wedding, right? Was that from your wedding?
Yeah,
was that actual footage from the wedding and putting everything? Because it was unreal. That's like one of my favorite videos of kind of seeing the progression of being married and in love and all that kind of stuff. And you have that, you know what I mean, for your whole life, and have a music video with your wife. How badass is that? You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was that kind of sort of randomly came about. Because that video came out, over a year after the album had came out. But I had the footage from the wedding, and basically when we were at practice one day, we decided to film just playing Willows. And it wasn't really going to be like a music video. I think it was originally we were going to try to do a live music like footage, I guess. And then
I think I was just messing around with ideas. It was just for like shits and giggles. We're just like, let's just record a practice.
And then that song is my wife's favorite PINSTOCK song, so I kind of had the light bulb over my head and got the idea to just mix the wedding footage with the footage we had from the studio and just called it a music video. So that one none of that was filmed with the intention of making it a video necessarily, but it worked out.
Yeah. No, it's
like
great.
Made from scraps.
Yeah, it's definitely something cool to put together, and you earn probably a serious brownie points with it, being your wife's favorite song and all that kind of stuff. So whenever you're in the doghouse, be like, well, I made you a music video. What else do you want?
Look, babe, I have it.
Right. Yeah, that's for life, son. All right. So let's talk about the first single from the record. It was "Left Me Hanging." Right. Was the first song from this new EP.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this song and what's it all about lyrically and musically, and how you guys collaborated on this track here.
I think as far musically, that had been a song that Danny had started quite a while ago. Maybe even before, like, I think the original part of it, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ricky and Danny, wasn't that originally going to be, when we recorded Always Swing First, a song we put out in 2021, we had showed Paul, the producer, 2 different demos, one for Always Swing First and one for that. And we went with Always Swing First. And then over time, once Jeff was in the band, because, when Jeff first joined the band, for the first year or so, we were just touring and playing songs that we had already recorded.
No songwriting.
Yeah. So when it finally came time to do some new songwriting, we were like, well, we have this other idea that we never got around to recording, and we changed it up a little bit, and Jeff added his flair to it, and Jeff is a great songwriter, by the way. So that helped improve it a lot. And then, so musically, that's how that came to be. And then as far as the lyrics go, you know, I think what I always try to say is like, I think of songwriting as like encapsulated feelings. And I say that like, you know, I think, okay, if I take just this tiny little feeling and now I want to branch out and elaborate on that. And I think that going back to what I was, you know, Bob, our producer, you know, who mixed our other record, what he kind of explained to me when I was writing songs with him was like, it's your job to make something that then other people, and specifically I was writing like a love breakup type song. He was like, it's your job to make things so that the boyfriend, when the girlfriend's upset, can say, here, babe, take this. Here's what I can show for you. Here's my feelings, basically. And I kind of try to think of it like that. So rather than it always being like me specifically, my feelings, I try to keep it broad and think like, what are things that I know other people are feeling and that they'll hear and that they'll say, oh, I really relate to that. And I really want to, you know, that's something that I want to listen to because it resonates with me. So yeah, so I mean, that's broadly applied to to every song I write. But that one specifically, I think, you know, just the feeling of like, I don't know, feeling like you left me hanging.
Going too fast, running from the ruminating thought of my past. I thought it had passed, but now I'm caught up in a cycle that I wish my brain hadn't thought of. So tell me how come I'm in a memory that I can't outrun. No matter what I do, I think I'm gonna give into the pressure inside. When you ask me how I'm doing, I'll just tell you I'm fine. I'm learning how to stay like you said you would, like you said you would. You still have to change your ways, like you said you would, like you said you would. Leave, I can't let go, I've been holding too long, gripping on the way it was a little too strong. I thought I was strong, but now I feel weak. Try to hide it if you're listening whenever I speak. So tell me how come I'm in a memory that I can't outrun. No matter what I do, I think I'm gonna give up just to see if it helps. When you ask me how I'm doing, I'll just tell you I'm well. What the hell? I'll give in to the pressure inside. When you ask me how I'm doing, I'll just tell you I'm fine. I'm learning how to stay like you said you would, like you said you would. You still have to change your ways, like you said you would, like you said you would. Leave, but you left me, yeah, you left me hanging, yeah, you left me hanging, you left me, yeah, you left me hanging, yeah, you left me hanging on, hanging on. I'm learning how to stay like you said you would, like you said you would. You still have to change your ways, like you said you would, like you said you would. I'm learning how to stay like you said you would, like you said you would. Leave.
Sorry, and one of the great things about your songs, it's like you don't have to, you know, read through the lines to figure out, you know, what's going on here, right? It's a love story, or it's a love, you know, forgotten love, or whatever it is. It's like it's right straight into the point. You know what I mean? You can relate to the lyrics and stuff. A lot of the songs that, you know, sometimes you hear, you're like, what the hell is he saying? Or using these strange metaphors, and you're like, what does that mean? What is a roof on a cat? Like, what the hell are they saying? You know what I mean? But But that's that's what I love. It's straight, it's direct and to the point, and you guys nailed it on Left Me Hanging. And that was the perfect single to release as the first one for sure.
Thank you. Yeah,
now Danny, when you go ahead.
No. Well, I was just going to say, I think that getting back to like the such literalness of songwriting, I think that comes from the hip hop background, and that when you're rapping and it's got to be at least for me growing up, I was really big on like Eminem and rappers like that, and it's things that make people hear and go, oh dang, like how do you think of that? It can't be super vague, broad things in hip hop, at least not in the traditional hip hop way I grew up. And I think that applies even when I'm singing and even when we're doing these pop punk songs. I think that just carries over in the songwriting. So
yeah, absolutely. And so Danny and Ricky, like when have you ever been in a band, and Jeff as well, have you guys ever been in a band with somebody that's rapping, or if you come from a punk rock band and some guy that just coming in that from a different state and wants the rap, was it kind of a learning curve to just kind of like prepare the songs accordingly to let him go and do his thing, and then you break out the chorus? How does that work when if you haven't been in a band like that before, or maybe you have? I don't know.
No, definitely never have been, and it did have we did have to get kind of used to his style of singing, and just kind of like ideas that I would come up with would end up getting changed quite a bit, and just to help fit more with the lyrics and how he's singing,
Yeah.
So it definitely was a bit of a learning curve, but for the most part, it's just having fun with it, and just kind of playing what felt right,
Yeah,
actually, Danny, we had a ska band. We were in a ska band together. Ska
Us too,
reggae.
yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right.
We were called Bloodshot.
Oh my god, with Chaz.
Really?
With Chaz.
You're
and
right.
we did have a rapper, but he was like,
Yes,
different than Shane. He was literally like rapping, and Shane, it's kind of like you said, a little bit of spoken word, so it is different.
Yeah.
Plus, I was like reggae ska, so it was a bit easier,
Yeah, exactly. But having like Shane doing kind of that spoken word stuff, it is different. Like Danny said, and we had to kind of. I knew it was unique, so when Shane called me, or when I found the ad on Craigslist, because we're a Craigslist band, I listened to the song. Yeah. I listened to the song and I was like, well, this is different. I remember telling Shane, I was like, look, I've been trying to find something different. I've been playing punk rock, fast punk rock, and which I still love, but I wanted something different, and that's when I heard Shane singing, I was kind of like, okay, this is different. I've always liked mixing like rap with something like that. And the way he said, when we started, he was like, let's do like a pop punk rap kind of thing. And I was like, I'm for it, something unique, something different than what I was playing. Yeah. So, but what I was saying is, yes, we've been in a band that's kind of, but more leaning into the hip hop stuff,
Sure. Yeah.
And it was reggae, ska stuff, which is easier. But this is different.
Yeah. Well, I was just speaking of Craigslist. I was asking somebody. There was is Craigslist even around still? Is it still around?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
I recently was on
what?
there and saw this post on Extreme Truth or Dare. Don't ask me why I was looking through your big community, but yeah, you'll find some good stuff on there.
Yeah. Oh,
Danny loves the casual encounters.
Is that another podcast for another genre?
Another time.
All right, so going backwards, love this song. It's probably one of your fastest songs, I should say, from the new EP. I'm pretty sure it's but anyways, doesn't matter. Regardless, it's a great song. Let's talk about how this song came together and what's it all about. And you pretty much, Shane, you hit the nail on the head, as far as how you approach the lyrics. But let's talk about the music and how the music came together with
I'll
this
let
one.
Jeff speak on that one.
This one has kind of an interesting story because I'm the drummer and I'm typically not like a songwriter, but I always have like ideas. I love it when somebody brings like a general idea or a skeleton, and then I love to shape it from there. but that's not to say that I haven't fiddled around with songs over the years. And so we sat together as a band and we're like, okay, we need to come out with songs. We need to do a lot of work. So we knew we had to come up with songs. And since this is kind of like finally my chance to participate in songwriting with the band, I remembered, I was like, hey, I know somewhere on a hard drive, I have just a handful of melodies that I wrote back probably over 10 years ago at this point. Actually, no more, probably like 15 or 20 years ago at this point, just stuff that I wrote on guitar when I was like early 20s or something. I found those recordings and I listened through, and going backwards was, it didn't have a name at the time, but that was a song that was like, I presented to them. I was like, how about this? So if you listen to the song and you feel like this song kind of has like an old, simple, like elementary sort of vibe to it, it's because it was written by like a child back in the day that didn't really know what they were doing.
I didn't notice that at all. No.
Oh, and to be honest, like the song actually stayed. I guess I was like a little particular and I kind of kept it on track, and the song sounds almost exactly like how I had written it back then, minus the Shane took over all the lyrical. I had no vocals for it whatsoever.
And the reggae bridge you added.
That was the last minute addition, yes.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But that's my only, like, that's my claim to fame. That's my one song that I've ever written in my entire life that a band has ever played.
Break the news to you, not a choice I'm choosing you. Got a voice I'm losing from trying to break through to you. Not a voice I'm raising though, only on the stereo. If you catch me staring or glaring, goddamn you glow. I need to grow up, gotta get off my ass. I ought to call her. Don't let the moment pass, no longer stalling. Glad I got up to go, 'cause I already know. Losing you feel like I'm going backwards. Don't want to feel like I'm backwards, not going backwards. How would I look without you here? What am I without you near? When I think about you, the clouds move, the sky gets clear. Even on a rainy day, had to get on wax and say, did you get that track? I will not go back, I want it to stay this way. I need to grow up, gotta get off my ass. I ought to call her. Don't let the moment pass, no longer stalling. Glad I got up to go, 'cause I already know. Losing you feel like I'm going backwards, going backwards. Don't want to feel like I'm backwards, not going backwards. What do I need to say? Need it to stay this way. Please don't change. How do I make this clear? Memories can disappear if you're here. Losing you feel like I'm going backwards, going backwards. Don't want to feel like I'm backwards, not going backwards. What do I need to say? What do I need? What do I need? What do I need to say?
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, you got plenty more years ahead of you to write some more. So, you know, you can always get in the beat laboratory and
Yeah,
do some more stuff.
I might have to dust off the old interface.
Yeah,
Those
it will
new
be
ones.
That's right.
it'll be step 2. Maybe you put some more songs in step 2. Now, I got to ask you a
I
question.
got some more.
Okay, so it's step 1, the EP. Is there going to be a step 2? Is it too far to ask you if there's going to be a step 2 before the end of the year, or
Well,
what's the thought process on that?
we
Or
don't
too
we don't
soon?
know the we don't know the timeline yet. We are definitely in the process of writing more songs already, and I think the plan loosely, we don't. I will say I'm an album person. I love albums. That's what I grew up doing, buying albums. I still love that feeling. I'm a big vinyl guy. And we don't, unfortunately, live in an album world anymore. So I think our plan right now, loosely, is to release songs as singles, collectively put those singles together, call them EPs, and then eventually take those EPs and then call it an album. So what we would probably do would be do like a step 2, maybe even a step 3, and then maybe do a couple more songs and bundle it all together and call it an album. And my goal, I guess, not really a plan, but a goal, is sometime next year to have enough music out to put it together and have a new album out next year. I would love to have the next EP out by the end of the year, but it's hard to tell right now, especially like I said earlier, I have a baby on the way. So we're just taking it day by day, but that is eventually the plan. To have the next EP as step 2, and then maybe even a step 3.
No, that's smart. And I want to ask you, I want to get back to, there's a couple of things I want to ask you in regards to like media and all that kind of stuff and how you release music. The one being like vinyl and all that kind of stuff. You say you're an album guy, want to put an album together, any of that kind of stuff. Is there any plans for Wiretap to put this EP out, in a physical format, now that you have some label behind you?
That really is.
Or are you
going to
wait until down the line?
Well, we haven't really discussed it yet. I think we've discussed it a little bit with Rob, I guess, and he's leaving it up to us. Like if we want to do it, he has a lot of good connections on getting vinyl made for relatively cheap. So that's great. That makes it easier. And I think with our first EP that we ever put out, stuff like that, we have that on vinyl, which I'm really, really proud of. And I have a closet full of them still. So it's like one of those things where
I got to get one of those. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, there you go. Thank you, Jeff. You can, after the show, just like message us your address. I'll mail you one free of charge. No worries. I got plenty of them.
I appreciate
it. So I think it's one of those things that, yes, I really, really want to. To be honest, I want to do Juliet Street on vinyl. But there's sort of an unwritten rule of like, people say if you can't sell 200 of the same shirt, then you're not ready to do a vinyl yet. And we've sold a couple hundred copies of the stuff like that EP, so I at this point we've made our money back. But it's just one of those things that I'm like, I don't know, it's just financially a tough thing to pull off, I guess, when you're a growing band like ourselves. But I definitely want to do it.
Yeah. I know it's so it's not very cost effective, right, for bands to put out vinyl and stuff and make the return. And I know that's a challenge with bands that are up and coming and all that kind of stuff. And I know some labels are very heavy with vinyl releases, like labels like Spam and all that kind of stuff. But you have those other independent labels with like Sell the Heart and Wiretap and all those other ones. I know it's kind of like case by case basis, and being kind of the newbies, I guess, on the record label, maybe it's just something that maybe it's more time under your belt and all that kind of stuff. But anything you guys put out, man, I think people will buy and all that good stuff. But I want to ask your opinion, because the hot news or the hot take this past couple weeks, from what I've seen on TikTok and everywhere, is this AI bullshit, with these fake bands. And I want to know your perspective on, I don't know if you've seen that fake like Southern rock band or whatever the hell it is. What's your take on that? Are you guys scared, or are you guys like just like of technology, of AI and bands and getting your music out there on those streaming platforms? What's your take on that, Paul? And you guys can all jump in and talk about it, because I'm sure everybody has different opinions and all that good stuff. But it's a necessary evil, right? But it's at the same time, it's kind of pisses you off. It's got to, right?
I'll let you guys speak about it first.
Okay.
Jeff?
Well, yeah. I don't have too much. I don't know too much on it, but my quick hot take on it is that we just live in a capitalist society. Companies are going to do what they can to everything's motivated by money. So if they can make more money by doing AI bands, and if that's just what people are listening to, they listen to Spotify or whatever radio that can generate that and make more money from it. That's the mainstream thing that's going to happen, and there's literally nothing we can do to stop it. But for the people that are out there looking for, that go to shows, that do look for independent artists or real music, as you might call it, we're still going to be out there trying to connect with those people as much as possible. So I like to think of bands like MXPX that have been able to just create this following, this fan base that they've kept with them forever, and that follows them no matter where they're at. And so all we can hope is to find our own fan base and keep them around. Maybe the mainstream thing isn't destined for us. Who knows what the future will look like? But I don't know. As long as we can find our own little fan base that sticks around with us, that's enough for me.
Yeah, Ricky, what do you think about everything that's going on? I'm just curious.
It's kind of like, you remember when stand-up comedians, they were talking about this, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. They had like George Carlin, right? They did like a bunch of jokes for George Carlin, but it was his voice and it was creepy as hell, right?
Yeah. So even stand-up comedians were kind of talking about it, and they were kind of afraid. But back to what Jeff said, he's like, what are we going to stop? What are we going to stop and just say, oh, let AI, make a band,
No.
I feel like some people are still going to want to see the live show, Even me,
absolutely.
I'm not going to go watch an AI band. What are they going to do? Hologram?
Right. Yeah.
But I just feel like people like me, other people that go to shows, like Jeff said, they're going to want that live performance. That's kind of, since I was a kid, I was going to live shows, and I still strive for that,
Yeah, and you would think that they would, get smart and just say, hey, because that one band has like 500,000 followers and has 2 albums out or whatever, and it's great. Well, like if you want to see them live, you're not going to be able to see them live, and they got to have some kind of ticker or something like there to let you know, hey, this is AI generated. That way, people can see it and not be fooled. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind them doing it, but when it takes up, this is my theory, and Danny, and Shane, I'm going to ask you your opinion, but my feeling is that it takes those songs are going to be added to the big playlists, and it's going to take bands like, you know what I mean? That's where kind of the rub is, right? So they're going to add these AI bands to these really popular playlists and ousting a band that's trying to make it or out there performing live. And that's my big hot button. You can do like artificial music all day because there's those passive listeners, right? That just aren't into music. They just want to have some background music at a party or whatever. And I get that, right? But those diehard fans and those diehard bands that are trying to go out there and make a living, it's really horrible when they're being replaced on those big playlists on Spotify. You know what I mean? So it's anyways, go ahead, Danny. That's my little take. Danny, what's your thoughts?
Well, I don't really I don't know how excuse me, hold on. I'm not sure how exactly well the AI music is sounding. I haven't really listened to it at all, and I don't go on TikTok. So the only way I can see, people really being scared about AI music would be like when it comes to jingles and stuff like that. I feel like that would be something easily that AI would do.
Right.
But as far as how you guys been saying, there's always going to be people wanting to go see a live performance. There's just energy, in the room. There's just it can't be replicated through AI. So,
100%, 100%. Go ahead, Jim.
My thoughts are, as far as how is it going to affect us? I mean, at this point in my life, yes, we are absolutely music is the goal, to do that professionally and to do that full time. And if you told me today, hey, no one's ever going to listen to your music again, I'm still going to do it. I love writing music. I love recording music. It's a lot of the times about the process just as much as the product, and it's about the journey as much as the destination. So I'm going to do it no matter what, regardless of how AI is going to interfere with us. As far as musicians, for a consumer aspect, I will say this, and I know this is sort of probably the unpopular opinion. At first, when this was happening, I was very oh, that sucks, fuck AI music, yada yada yada. And then on YouTube, I was scrolling one day and I saw a unreleased Blink-182 song that had been created using AI, and I'm a big Blink fan. And it was very old school Blink sound, and it sounded just like early 2000s Blink with Tom's voice and everything, and it was AI, and I loved it. It's a fucking great song. So in a way, in a way, it's
Right.
one of those things that, you know, when you think about like, oh man, I wish we had the old Blink-182. I wish we had, like I was saying, Eminem earlier. I'm always like, oh, Eminem's first 3 albums. I wish we had that old Eminem. From a consumer aspect, it sort of like fulfills a nostalgia in a way. It's like, whoa, it sounds like an old Blink-182 song that you never heard. So that's sort of one of the pros of it, if you will. Now, I'm sure that's not a pro for Blink-182 because, you know, they're missing, like you mentioned, they're missing out on listeners or whatever. But I will say that's one of the cool ways of looking at it, I guess, if I had to find one. So.
Wow, so you like that Blink-182 song? That was
I
made
did.
by AI?
I did. I really did. I was like, this is a banger.
I'm curious.
Send it to us so we can listen to it. I want to hear it.
Okay.
No, I mean that's a really good point. I never really thought about that because there's a lot of bands that, you know, that I like or that I've liked, you know, 10 years ago that haven't made a good record since, right? And you're like, man, I want that feeling. I'm looking at you, Rise Against. You know, there's some of those bands that you know hasn't put out a decent record in, like, you know, 10 years, and I'm like, I just want them to go back to that, you know, the screaming again or the singing or whatever. And it would be a really cool tool to have and be able to build that on that. And that's a really good point. But at the same time, maybe it's just kind of like hot water. Like everybody's afraid to, you know, go in until you finally get in and accept it as for what it is. You know, at the bottom line, I don't want, you know, any of you guys or any bands that are going out there and performing and going on tour and all that kind of stuff to miss out on opportunities because of AI. And that's the big concern there. Right. So,
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Wasted Time. I can tell you're lying. Your latest music video that you guys have out. Let's talk about this song. It is kind of a like almost a melancholy kind of song, to where it's kind of a slower vibe, but I really love it. Still got the, you know, the rap and the pop punk elements to it. Let's talk about the song, how it came together, and all that good stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah, that was one that I'd started, and I had a little bit of a riff for the rhythm guitar, I had messed around with how to play it, and then I decided to kind of slow it down a little bit, and then I'd already written lyrics and everything on my own, and I showed it to the band, and as you mentioned, it is more melancholy slow, and then Ricky had some really good ideas for the chorus for how to make it a little more uplifted and give it that pop punk style, as did Paul. Actually, one of the interesting things about that song, a little producer trick, you probably didn't notice, but the BPM changes on the chorus. So when the chorus kicks in, because that was one of the one of the things we asked Paul was like, man, we feel like the chorus just feels kind of slow and low, and he changed the key, and then also he was like, you know what if we just slightly crank the BPM on the chorus, and then it goes back down to the verse. And it's one of those things that you would never really notice if you didn't know it was there. But that helped a lot, give it that like pop punk rock feel. But yeah, that's how that one came to be. And then Danny wrote some incredible Hot Mulligan-esque lead guitar licks. I'm going over it, and then we decided that one was sort of like each day. It felt like every time we played it, we decided to add something. And we added keys, and we wanted to add like a sort of like the beginning of Always by Blink-182, that like spacey noise to start like. So yeah, we all kind of had ideas for what to add to that one.
That was a very collaborative song,
for sure.
Yeah.
When you guys put songs together, you know, as far as, you know, you guys all bring ideas and say, hey, like Danny's got an idea for guitar part, Ricky's got a part, like Ricky and Jeff are, you know, kind of together, like, hey, we've got, you know, some things laid down, and then you kind of go, is it kind of all together kind of deal? And there's no like main songwriter, it's just everybody just kind of collaborative and kind of deal. How does that work in your band and your dynamics?
I think so. I mean, I think it is really collaborative. I think I write most of the lyrics, but other than that, for the most part, it usually is us in a rehearsal room being like, here's an idea, what else could we do? And not always. I mean, sometimes there can be too many chefs, and sometimes like I really like when Danny will record demos at home and go ahead and come up with the drum ideas and everything. But even then, like if Jeff were to say, oh, I actually was thinking more like this, like it's never no, it has to be this way. We're very collaborative, and it is a democracy when it comes to the songwriting for sure. So
yeah. Now, do you like have like a book to where you write a bunch of lyrics and then they bring songs to you and you can, you know, go to your book and say, okay, I've been working on these lyrics, or do you wait for the music and then you add your hip hop to it? Because that's like a feel, right? Like a hip hop's a feel, right? Like the beat's a feel. How you're going to deliver it, right? And how do you structure your words and choruses and all that kind of stuff? Or
it really is a little bit of both. A lot of the times what I'll do, like honestly, even I think, going back to Left Me Hanging, what I'll do is if I'm not like feeling the writing to that song, I'll actually write to like a popular rap beat. I think for Left Me Hanging, I actually was writing to like Glorilla beats. I don't know if you're a Glorilla fan, but very, very different music than we are. So I'll write to that and just try to find like similar tempo, because assuming it's the same time signature, then it's going to work over it. So I'll do that sometimes, but sometimes it just like Going Backwards, those were written directly to that because I felt like I just felt a good flow to go with that. So it's a little bit of both. I don't necessarily keep a book. Most of the time these days it is like, okay, we have a new song and it needs lyrics. How am I going to write these lyrics? That said, I do have just kind of a weird thing, but I actually have my like lyrics back from when I was in like middle school. I have an actual like rap book. I don't know if I've ever shown that to you guys, but literally like it says 2004 on it. So I have like a fat notebook full of lyrics. I try to keep all the lyrics I've ever written. I try to handwrite all my lyrics. I think it's just, I don't know, something about it makes it feel more real, more personable. But yeah, so
you can always go back to them though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you're ever stuck in a writer's block, you're like, all right, well, let's go senior year. Let's go. Let's add it up.
Absolutely.
Start going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Going backwards part 2. No, that's awesome. I really, like I said, I really love the EP. Now, as far as like favorite songs, each one of you tell me your favorite song from the new EP.
With me going
Shane,
backwards for sure.
Yeah, Shane, going backwards. All right, Jeff.
Oh, sorry, you guys go.
Oh no, go ahead, bro. Go.
I gotta think. I don't know. They're all pretty good.
I honestly, Going Backwards is one of my favorite songs we've ever written, period. Like I loved that as soon as Jeff showed it to us. I love that song. Yeah. So
that was a really good written song. We didn't have to change anything. It was really good.
Maybe I should write more songs.
Damn, that's what I was getting ready to say. Jeff, you got to get up.
You write bangers, man.
I have some more. I will dig into the old archives and we'll pull out another one. I'll work them out. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's talk about shows lined up. You guys got any shows anytime soon? I know, Shane, you're still on vacation, all that good stuff, and doing the husband duties and all that kind of stuff. What's the game plan for Pinstock kind of moving forward and doing shows?
Well, we've done a lot less shows this summer than we usually do, mostly because we've been focused on songwriting. But we do have August 3rd, we're in downtown LA at a spot called Slipper Clutch, playing with a band called Stay Out. They're from like the East Bay. They're on tour. So we're opening for them. Shout out to Stay Out. And then what else? August 22nd and 23rd, we're playing with a band called The Living Daylights, as well as a local band called Victory Point. The 22nd, I think we're in Long Beach at Supply and Demand. 23rd, we are in Canoga Park, I want to say, at a place called Scotland Yard. And then we are in the midst of booking another show September 19th with a band. They're called Where's Lucy. We played with they're from Phoenix. We played with them before they opened, or no, they were the headliner actually when we played in Phoenix, and they were great. Like one of the best other bands we've ever played with, honestly. So
shout also out to do the hip hop thing.
Yes.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, they are also kind of hip hop rock. So other than that, though, nothing solid. We're offered a good amount of shows. I think all of those shows, like people reached out to us to offer us the show, which is a great feeling because we don't have to put in all that work like we used to. But really, I want our focus right now to just be on writing more songs, because that's the world we live in. If you go more than 6 months without releasing something, people will forget about you. So
you're the slave to the machine. That's kind of like one of those things where it's like you gotta have to keep on spitting them out, and kind of a thing, chasing that dragon or whatever, and trying to stay in people's faces and stuff. But you also need to get out there. Do you guys have any plans to kind of tour out of state, to just go to like Santa Fe, New Mexico, or wherever's like near you, out of state, or is I know probably like a U.S. tour is kind of not in the books right now, just due to the fact that you're going to be a father very soon. What's the goal with Pinstock as far as playing outside of California?
Well, we definitely want to. I think either next spring or next summer, or hopefully both, at least do 1 week or so. We get a lot of love in Texas. So we did a tour in Texas. That was our first one we ever did, and it was just all around Texas, and it was a great experience. So hopefully, trying to at least get down to Texas again. I'm from the Midwest. I'm originally from Indiana, so we've talked about just like flying out there and then trying to hit Indianapolis, Chicago, maybe St. Louis, places like that. So nothing solid planned yet, but those are sort of the goals right now. The spring and summer of next year, hopefully with a new record to go with it, and then get on the road and promote that.
Yeah, maybe we'll see you at a fest maybe next year. I don't know if you guys.
Hell yeah!
I don't know.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. We've reached out to Fest a couple times. And they've communicated with us. They're not leaving us on red, luckily, but it just hasn't been in the cards yet. But fingers crossed, next Fest maybe we'll get out there and do a little Florida tour.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'll be there regardless. It's funny because I joke with a lot of bands that are playing Fest when I interview them and all that kind of stuff. But and I've said this 9 million times on the podcast, but it always happens around October, and you'll know, Shane, very soon enough. And I don't know, Danny or Ricky, if you have kids, but my wife makes her my kids Halloween costumes for 2 weeks, and then she's it's literally the night before she finally finishes them and stuff. So I'm I have to go for, I'm a gopher and all that kind of stuff. So Fest always happens around Halloween time, and I got to be dad, do dad duties, and all my favorite bands are playing Fest, and it's only an hour and a half away. But they do a pre-fest here in downtown Orlando, and they're doing one in Tampa as well. So they're doing 2 shows in Florida this year, which is really cool. It's right down the street, so it's 30 bands that are playing Fest, but they're on their way to Fest kind of a deal. And
that's cool.
Definitely something to think about for you guys for next year, and timing. Hopefully everything works out for you guys and all that good stuff. But
yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for joining the podcast. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for the time. Best of luck to you guys on this new record. Looking forward to new music. I'm going to let you guys get back doing your thing, and let me know if you guys need anything from here on out. But I really appreciate you guys jumping on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right. Keep in touch.
Peace.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm going to edit it. I'll probably have the podcast done before the weekend. I'm going to try.
Okay.
But I'll keep you posted before everything, and then I'm going to start promoting it tomorrow as a coming soon.
Cool.
And then I'll keep you posted as far as because I got to record this intro separately, and it always takes me I procrastinate on doing the intro because I just hate, because I'm by myself and I'm talking to myself, and I hate talking to myself. It's one of the things I hate about this stupid. I hate this podcast and having to talk to myself and critique my own words. So it takes me a little bit longer than just talking to you guys. So, but I'll keep you posted on everything. But like I said, thank you so much for taking the time, guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, thank
awesome,
you, man.
I'll see you.
All right, thanks, guys. Be good.
All right,
Okay, bye.
You too. See ya.